What is their journey? How did it begin? What stepping stones brought them to their current understanding and practice of homeopathy? What insights and wisdom have they gathered along the way? What are the challenges? Who are the teachers, the important people, the people who influenced them? What are the leaps of understanding, the pivotal cases that expanded their thinking? And where are they now? What light do they have for these times and our community? These are some of the roads we'll travel with 6 outstanding homeopaths, artists of our science. Over the next 2 days, we will hear about each one's unique path of mastery. So I join you as we listen carefully to them delve into themselves and share their own journey as a homeopath. Our voyage begins with Dr. Mahesh Gandhi. He comes to us from Mumbai, India, a homeopath who started his career as a psychiatrist. He brings 35 years of clinical experience treating psychiatric disorders with homeopathy. Through this experience, he has developed a new approach that he calls personal evolution model. He has been traveling and teaching worldwide for the last 20 years and mentors the first ever postgraduate fellowship program for homeopaths. This fellowship in homeopathic psychiatry and counseling is an official university recognized course in India. He's authored 2 books, Personal Evolution Model. I found 3 books, so he'll enlighten us about that. The second book in the series is Anxiety and Panic, the Personal Evolution Model Perspective. A heartfelt welcome, Dr. Mahesh Gandhi. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me, Laurie. You know, I love talking to you. It's such a pleasure to be here and to talk.
Nice.
So,
welcome.
Wishing everybody on this day, Animals Day. We are all so blessed, I think, because of homeopathy. This is one science, I think, all of us feel so blessed that we are in it. And the joy it gives us.
Say a little more about that.
Nothing. It's a sense of fulfillment. The blessing, it's true. Because when you see that, with psychiatric medications, we could treat people, we can see them improving symptomatically. But the real joy of seeing that change, that inner change, that metamorphosis, the sense of well-being which they experience. Because this is one of the definitions of the health, right? The sense of well-being, which no other pathy, I don't have to say no other pathy, but which definitely homeopathy gives. The sense of well-being. You get more spiritually connected. It's a joy. And we sometimes don't know what is that joy. It's just a pleasure of seeing. And also it's all about learning, growing, evolving, developing. We also as an individual. So at whatever level and whatever we do in homeopathy, I've hardly heard anybody saying, oh my God, where did I land up with this subject? And I want to leave. It's very rare to hear. I'm sure there might be a few. And it's okay, but most of them feel that they have grown as people and as individuals.
Yes.
So I feel very blessed that something took me in this direction and today I am in this field. And this field is so vast. Nobody can never say that they know homeopathy. Right. Whoever says, I know homeopathy, my God. You cannot say. You are an eternal student. There's always something more to learn. Some new insights, new things, from case taking to remedies and life. What else?
So tell us how it all began for you. How did you hear the calling, Hanuman's calling?
Hmm. To say that I did something to come into homeopathy would not be a very right thing. I gradually got drawn in.
Mhm.
I just remember that I was doing my psychiatry, and that time 1 year senior to me was one homeopath who's known in India, Dr. Kumar Davle. And he was doing psychiatry because his father was a physician who had turned into a homeopath. And he told his son, if you want to be a good homeopath, do psychiatry and then come.
Ah,
And and we used to have our lunch together, our dinner together. We would see our patients in the ward. But he always gave everybody those pills and he was studying them from a different perspective. And he had some things on which he would make fun of me. And I had this one target, your sugar pills. And I was just ridiculing him. What the hell are you doing? Why don't you just focus on your psychiatry? What is this going to do? You see how well we can treat with our psychiatric medication and counseling. So we had this sort of fun talks. I never thought I would get into homeopathy. It was never in my mind and I didn't know anything. And then, and after I finished, I got married and my father-in-law, he was a very well-known practitioner, a psychiatrist, pediatrician from Mumbai. Very well-known person. Everybody knew him in Mumbai, India, even abroad. And he was the one who'd give all the patients some homeopathy, some Ayurveda, and he spent a lot of time talking to those patients at the end of after the whole day. He used to see hundreds of patients.
wow.
Never, he was so calm. For me, he is my guru.
Wow.
Just to know him, how he was, his being, the way he was, his simplicity. He would wear his chappals and his shirt out, and he would not bother, unassuming, so humble, so simple.
Wow.
Even Rajan knows him, and Rajan would say, amazing man. So I was very lucky that he was my father-in-law. And he would give everybody, and at the end of the 100 patients, he always had time to talk with all the patients. They would gather, and then he would explain to them how to take care, preventive. And so I asked, you are not tired after the end of the day you do this? He says, I teach them this so that they don't have to come back to me. It's like, you don't think how many more people come. He says, I want to give you all the tools so that you don't come back.
Yes.
And so that is why I've always been a learner. I don't know. Maybe I am a little monomanic and always like to study and learn. This is something which is a part of me. So after I finished this, I was a lecturer in a college and I had spare time in the evening. So I talked to him and I said, I want to learn something more. I'm not happy with what I know. I feel there is much more to learn. And then I said, what about Ayurveda? I said, fine, let's do Ayurveda. I started Ayurveda. And he took his time and he taught me. And I started practicing. But in Ayurveda, in psychiatry, there are uh, very general things. There is nothing very specific. There are things which are good for the mind, and there are some herbs which are generally used in everything. But there was not like, what is good for anxiety, what is good for OCD, it was not so specialized. Ayurveda is amazing for many, many pathologies, but for the mind, they had only some tonics, which was generally good for the mind. So after 6, 8 months, maybe a year, I said, I'm not happy. I'm doing this, but I did learn something. I can't say I didn't learn. I learned basic Ayurveda. Even in this lockdown period, I again started looking into this Kapha, Vata, Pitta. I wanted to know if I can get some idea, and I did learn a lot. But I told him I want to learn something more. He says, then go for homeopathy. And then he has one of his friends who was doing a weekend course in the evenings. And I said, okay, I have time, let me go there. And I started. And when I went there, actually, it was for me, I was a little amazed. What are these people doing? Like there was this patient, I remember. I was there and there was another person from an allopathic background. We used to sit together. And then there were many other people. And this patient came for hemorrhoids. And he was suffering and he had got that ligation done and operated a few times, but it would recur. And somebody said, try homeopathy. So it was a live case which he was doing there. And then he was asking him, what do you eat? And then it was okay. Then he's asking you, do you need fan at night? How is your relationship with your wife? And I said, oh my God, what are these people doing? Are you crazy? What is piles to do with all these questions? And I was nudging my partner and I said, oh my, where are we stuck here? And this guy comes after 1-2 months and says, I am perfectly all right. This is the first 2 months in my life I did not bleed.
Wow.
So our idea of in Ayurveda, in allopathy is to look at what is the problem. Focus there. Look at the hemorrhoid. See what is happening. And this was completely different. So for me, that was the beginning. I said, there is something which we have to see. And I cannot have this focal view of looking at life.
Wow.
And it was more difficult for me to unlearn than learn. Because this brainwashing, 5.5 years of undergraduation and then 3-4 years of post-graduation, 10 years I've been trained to see illnesses in a particular way. So for me, it was a big unlearning. And then I started, whatever I learned, little bit, then I started doing, and I was really looking for people who can teach me. And a lot of my studies was self-study. And I would just catch somebody. There was this Professor Gunwante whose books are there. I got to know about him and I would go and sit with him in the mornings and learn. And then I was practicing in, so I did that course, but in 1 year, weekends, how much you can learn? It was just some exposure. But something told me this is correct. And that I don't know why, but I knew this is right. Now, how I learned, it was very difficult for me to go to a college and study. It was not possible. By then I had my practice and I was already doing my practice. And I was practicing in Santa Cruz, which is in Mumbai. And that's exactly where Rajan Shankaran also practices. And we somehow, some occasions, somehow we met each other, had some little bit of talks. I don't know how much he remembers about me, and I don't know how much I remembered about him. But then he sent his first book to me, Spirit of Homeopathy.
Yes.
And I said, this is something.
Wow.
I got hooked. I then said, I have to read. And then I started attending all his seminars, going wherever. And he used to do some courses in India where for Indian homeopaths. And I said, I'm not even a homeopath. How will he take me in? But I would somehow talk to, Dr. Sujit or Jayesh or something and try to see me, and my wife and me would get into that course. And we did some courses and I would attend his seminars and then ask questions. I wanted to be noticed by him so that he recognizes there is somebody here. And he was also, then he realized that there is some allopath who's very keen and who's somehow always there in all these situations. And then I did one of his courses and I would be the one who would answer and talk and be very active. And then one day I went to him and told him, I want to sit with you. And by then I'd read all the things. It's not that I would sit with him. I had read his book also. I had by hearted his book. Because if I go there, I have to know something. I can't just go and learn ABCD from a master who's a world master. It's not a possibility. So I really did my homework. And then I went to him and I said, I want to learn from you and I want to sit with you. He said, okay. But you have to come after 3 months. And I was surprised. I said, I'm not joking. I'm coming. He said some March. It was some March that he joined on 1st of March. I said, I'll have to resign because I am in an honorary psychiatric post, a very big post in a medical college. I go there every morning. So if I come to sit with you, I'm going to resign there. So you can't just say and then say, oh, but I told you, but I cannot. Please tell me because I'm going to give my resignation. So I think he also probably was a little taken aback, but he said, no, no, sure, you can come. He speaks very less and very distant and very formal. And he said, yeah, yeah, you can come. So I said, it's okay. So then
But
I
your
resigned.
energy was very intense, very,
Yes.
very determined. You were
Yes,
ready
but
to give that up.
I don't know. It was just something was driving me, and I said that I want to
Yeah,
learn this.
yeah,
And initially, I would sit with him. You know how Rajan is. He doesn't talk much. He would sit there. Sometimes I was even uncomfortable sitting there because it would be half an hour and he doesn't speak and I don't speak. He had a shelf where he had books. So I would quietly pick up a book and read till the patient came in. But I would really learn. And suppose, let's say I presented a case and I would tell, I'm presenting a case and I would say it's lycopodium. And he would say, no, it's bryonia. So I would say, I don't know. Lycopodium is wrong. No questioning. And I would just see why is it bryonia and learn. So I
yes,
sat with him for 1-2 years and then I just saw his way of thinking. I completely stopped my thinking. I said, he is right. That's it. Nothing else. Like head belongs to him. Nothing
right.
more. And then after that, then I started sitting once a week for quite a few years where you would see primarily psychiatric cases. He thought it
Yes,
would be nice that he gets to see psychiatric and I give him a feedback on psychiatric cases and I get to learn. It was like a mutual thing. But then I really learned from him. He has learned from such great masters and I have been very lucky. So I
mm,
don't know. You people are from such far distance. Go and attend these seminars. I got everything on a plate. He practices in Santa Cruz. I practice in Santa Cruz. I get to sit with him without even going into any homeopathic college. So I've been very lucky.
mm.
I've been lucky and I think God has put his hand on me
Yeah.
and I've been very lucky. And that's how I learned.
Wow.
And it was more passive learning. And
What do
passive
you
learning
mean
means
by?
passive learning is not that Rajan is not the one who will really sit and teach you. He's not
Yes,
going to tell you. He's not spoon feed you.
yes.
And I had this one phrase in my mind always that a good student learns more than what the teacher teaches.
Hmm.
That it's not what he is, but his being, what he talks, what he is seeing, what he is talking. I think to be a student, you have to, how much we take from him. If he's teaching 100, we should be able to take 110. That should be one's attitude. And no, it doesn't, I'm not trying to sound little big, but I had that passion and I wanted to learn. Then I started using it in my practice with a lot of mistakes and that's how I gradually came into this.
Right.
And it just happened. And I'm very happy. I'm so happy.
So how did it happen? You started then gradually introducing, giving a remedy,
Yes, I started giving
consulting
the
with your
remedy in my own
consulting.
practice. It was
Yes.
like, the story of the camel and the Arab. It was like a winter night and in Arabia, in South, wherever in Middle East, it can be very cold. So
Yes.
this Arab is sleeping in the tent and this camel is outside and he feels very sorry for the camel. So he allows the camel to put the head in. So he feels it's okay, let the camel put the head in, at least he feels little warm. But gradually the camel put its 2 feet in, gradually the camel approached further, then he put his next 2 feet in, and after some time what happened was the camel was in the tent and the Arab was outside. So this is my story. I started with psychiatry, with a little
Yes.
bit of homeopathy. I
Yes.
allowed a little bit of head of homeopathy come in. So it was like, how when you treat somebody, you give some herbal along with it, some
Yes.
supplementary. So homeopathy was a supplementary. It's like my main treatment is going to be counseling and allopathic medication. And along with that, I also give you this for whatever worth it is. and then gradually it increased. And even in my practice, if you see, I would hesitate to treat everything. I was okay giving people with little depression, a little stress management, a little anxiety. Okay, take this also. I wouldn't dare to treat bipolar, schizophrenia, OCD. But as I got more and more courage, I started treating OCD, schizophrenia, bipolar. Today, I would treat, and I am treating everything.
Nice.
Before that, I thought, okay, homeopathy might help you in anxiety. Little bit it can help you, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But my confidence also came more and more. Today, I can say that probably we have better treatment in OCD, bipolar, and many of these things than even allopaths. Because especially OCD, they have no medicine. Bipolar, they have some mood stabilizers. Schizophrenia, at least they can help them
Yes.
become asymptomatic. And we have to be careful when we reduce. But today I have many patients whom have withdrawn their medications. Many whose medications have brought them down.
Yes.
And definitely they feel that the quality of life has improved. So there are different grades of people who have improved.
Mm.
And of course, there are many, many OCD, phobia, anxiety, depression who are absolutely not on any allopathic medications.
Wow. So good. So what were those stepping stones that built your confidence?
I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know.
It's
There
kind
was
of
this-
hard to reflect on,
How
isn't
can you?
it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
This,
I don't
this
know.
whole thing of telling that I did this, I don't know because I
I
really
know.
didn't do anything.
I understand.
Things
It's just
unfolded.
just unfolded.
It just unfolded and something had to come out through me, had to accept that, acknowledge it and let it be and trust the process.
Yes.
I think this was very important. Sometimes we also have ideas, but we have our hesitations. I was open to it. I let it come and experimented with it. And I also think that I was at one advantageous position was that I was a psychiatrist. So I have only one particular type patients coming more. All these
Uh-huh.
mind.
Yes,
So I had
yes.
more experience with them. And I had a big problem because let's say if a patient comes with a physical problem, then we have our principles, the location, the sensation, the modality, the concomitants. So it was an easy process. It's like somebody comes and tells you, I have pain. The first question is, where is the pain? He'll say, I'm not going to tell you. I'm just telling you I've got pain. It becomes very difficult, right? I said, come on. Because you don't
Yes.
know the location. If you don't know location, what will you do?
Yeah.
Then comes what is exactly the sensation, then what makes it better, less, and what are the other things associated with it. So this is our basic principle. So we can get away doing this in our physical problem. Somebody comes with headache. So you say, where is the pain? What is the
Right.
type of pain? What makes it better? What makes it worse? Anything else happens along with it. But when you come for the mind, and in
Yes.
our repertory, if you see, body is divided into so many sections. So many sections. There's the
Yes.
eyes, nose, head, oh my God, everything. So many sections. So as soon as somebody says, I have a problem in my extremities, you go into that section and open that and study it.
Yes.
Right? But mind, which is supposed to be even bigger than the body, has only one section.
Right.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine? So what is the location? Location mind. Mind is so vast, bigger than
Yeah.
body. There are no sections.
Hmm.
So great masters, I've heard them say, don't go too much into the mentals because you'll get lost.
Yes.
Giving a prescription based only on mentals can be very dangerous unless you have very specific rubric or a very specific, something. Because also there are prejudices. When the patient talks, we can make meaning out of it and see it. And then there are a lot of, how you perceive a mental symptom also is different.
Like, what do you mean? For example, what do you mean there? How you
So
perceive?
somebody says that, no, you might take something as jealousy when it may not be jealousy or suspicious.
Okay. Yes.
Or somebody
Yes.
says, my childhood had so many problems. My father was like my mother. And you'll say, okay, I'll take delusion wrong has suffered.
Yes.
Now this is an interpretation.
Yes.
Maybe it is not that. You understand? So we can make mistakes. It is not very specific. Mind, and then it is. So first thing is how to make sections of the mind. So for me, I had to work with homeopathy without location. Mind is so big. It's like going into the ocean without a compass.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
So the first blessing which came to me was Jan Schulte. Not first, of course, Rajan and the whole journey. And the second blessing which came to me was Jan Scholten. Because Jan Scholten came up with this whole idea of periodic table.
Yes.
Suddenly the periodic table, so many minerals were mapped. And how? According to the development, according to the mind. Natrum line has to do with emotions, mother, relationship, feeling neglected, rejected, food, nourishment. So suddenly it's like what our patients talk. And then you have the Calcarea line where he's talking about career, his health, his resources. Suddenly it came alive. So this is what my patient talks. Or somebody says, I have creative ideas, I want to do something new. Okay, strontium line or somebody who's very responsible. So suddenly what patients talk, I could make a section. Okay, this man, he's from the adult line, he's from this line.
Right.
So just like physical pathology, you have different places to look into. He gave me some structure to look into. And then 18 columns, which have to do with different. So he brought development as a tool. So you don't talk about knee as the development of the knee, but we talk about development as an individual, as a person. And that is the inner age. I might be whatever age, I might be 40, 50, 60, but I could be an infant, I could be a person still in the womb, I could be a school age boy, I could be an adult, I could be old man. So my first thing was to hear them, what are they talking about? And from that I know where to look for in the chart.
You mean where they are at in that development process?
Yes, because he's not telling me about headache.
Yeah.
But he comes and says, I'm depressed. But this is an old story. My mother used to go to work and I was left with a nanny. And I was never given food at time and I used to feel neglected. And then my brother came in and my mother's attention went, what is he talking? From that I know where to look. So he gave me an idea and I said, yes, this is very interesting.
Yes.
And then that was the time where I started over prescribing minerals because my patients, I began to understand the patients, but I only understood them in context of minerals. So I was a mineral master because I used to give everybody minerals because I understood them. This is one of the problems of homeopathy is that so far it is not a science which was understood. We understood the principles, but we don't understand. It's like patient talks, we take their repertory report and we say, okay, Nux vomica is coming, this remedy is coming, that remedy is coming. It's a little bit of blind procedure.
Yes.
The end of it also, I might give Nux vomica, but I don't know what Nux vomica actually is from a development perspective. I only know from proving that when Nux vomica was proved, these were the symptoms and this patient had this symptom, that's it.
Yes.
But now Nux vomica is more alive. I know exactly who's Nux vomica. He's an adult with a little bit of infancy stage and a toddler stage and how he's struggling in his life, why he feels the sinking feeling. So Materia Medica became alive for me. So
how did this happen?
This happened, I will tell you.
Yes,
so first
please.
I was giving a lot of minerals.
Yes. From your King of the Mineral period.
Yeah, minerals, because I understood. And then I I was going to, Israel. Israel is my second home, you can say.
Nice.
I've been so many times. My first seminar abroad was in Israel, going out of my country. And I have some connection which I cannot explain. What is that connection? I have a deep, deep connection with that country and that land and those people. And when I went there, I was giving seminars, and I was one of those rare ones. Those Israelis are really tough people. They don't pick anybody. And for me to go so many times to Israel and to be accepted, they are good judges. I don't mean that I was great, that's why I was picked up, but somehow something clicked with them and me.
Yes.
And I had this opportunity to go many times. Most of the people go once, twice, and then that was the end of them there. But I went many times, and then this Yakir one day comes to me in the break or something and tells me, as I'm a botanist, I knew her, and she says, I'm also a botanist and I have some understanding on plants. Can I take your half an hour and explain to you? And I had heard she had written a book too, and it was not so popular or well read in Israel also at that time. And I'm a little bit of people pleaser, and I could not say no to her. And I cannot be very, and I'm very sensitive, a little bit of being little stuff. No, sorry. And so I said, yeah, okay, but let me see when I can. And I was trying to postpone, and finally I gave her that half an hour. Again, whatever she talked to me, I said,
Wow.
This is it. This is it. So we always give value to our intellect. We think intellect is the highest faculty. This is what makes us humans compared to the animals. But I think there is a higher intelligence inside, can perceive things even before your intellect knows. Yeah, very often, no, I can see I can look at Laurie and say, I don't know why, I just love you. This is the truth. When I talk to you about this, it is the truth. But is it logical because you talk well or you dress certain way or you are... No, there is something in me which recognizes something in you which I like about you. So I just said to her, I want to learn from you. And it was a little surprise because I go to give seminars there, and to pick up one of the students and go to learn from her. And it was no hidden thing that I'm going there. So suddenly it was like, and then she also felt nice and she started giving me time. And what she did was, she understood from botany all the plants as a group, all the plants which evolved over a time till the present moment.
Yeah.
Based on the principles what Cronquist chart. And she studied all the plants. And she said, in the same way the human race has traveled. So there is some similar thing, similar evolution going on happening. Just as the plant evolved, the humans evolved. And she was talking in terms of, and then being a botanist, she knew that was magnolia, and then there were some other things. I liked it very much. So I said, please, she can't teach me everything. And it was that time the book also was not there. But I got the essence from her. Yes. And what I did was, I made it. She didn't know much about the periodic table and all. So I saw the whole study of the plants in terms of individual human development. Yes. How a person is a toddler, grows up, child. Like for example, her first 3 columns, I thought it was like a womb. 4th column is like matron line. 5th column is like the school age. 6th column is like the adult stage. So this was my own understanding, which helped me, put it in that perspective. And then I started teaching. And many people, even initially, first thing when you tell something new, people are confused. And there was complete rejection. Oh. Almost first time when I went and talked in Munich, 50% of the people dropped out.
Wow.
But I said, I will stay with what I believe. Because that time sensation was very prevalent. And they said, you're now going into the human story. You're talking about what people are talking. It is not the deepest level. I said, truth is at all levels. And every time you cannot get, truth cannot be only at particular level. It percolates and expresses itself in a different way, but that truth is expressed at all levels.
Nice.
And then I started, and then people appreciated, and then they started calling her. Today she's going everywhere, probably even more than where I go.
Yes.
And then based on that same principles, I also came up with a animal chart.
Wow.
And that animal chart now we are using, whoever is using personal evolution model. So you see, we have now three charts. All three charts speak about development,
Yes.
talk same language. So there is some connection. And this is very helpful. Like when I used to initially give only the minerals, now I can say I give natramure, but natramure doesn't work. Maybe I need to give chocolate. Or maybe I need to give this. Hmm? Like when you were
Right.
teaching that case of
Yes.
Thea, I
Yes.
enjoyed that case because I was seeing it from the personal evolution perspective.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know that girl, psychotic, and how she was
Yes.
in the hospital and she wanted to get out of that place and
Yes.
jump out of the car. And for me, that case is so vivid. You know, the way you
But
bring the materia matika alive. So
tell
now
tell us.
I've got these three maps.
Yes. Okay.
All are based on the same principle of development.
Yes.
Hmm? So I would have called it individuation model. But individuation is Carl Jung's word. And people who come from that background might get confused. But this is not individual. So I could come up with this term, personal evolution. So what I learned is that one way of taking the case is going deep in, zooming in. What is the location, sensation, modality, all this stuff. Other is to zoom out.
Hmm.
And this is very important aspect. It's like bringing the left and the right brain. When you zoom out, you see who's this patient, what is he talking, how is he, and that gives a lot of information. And when you zoom out, what happens is, imagine I'm here in wherever I am right now. But if I zoom out and I go up, I can see the whole map of Mumbai,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
zooming out, you need map. So when you
Mhm.
zoom out, then you have this plant chart, animal chart, mineral chart, and you see the map, and then you know where, based on what he's talking, where to zero down.
Yeah.
So these maps help you to reduce your search field. And then you
Yes.
can look into that particular area based on development, evolution. So whatever is what I am doing is, because I was in psychiatry, I had to make sections of the mind. And these were the maps.
Uh-huh.
And for that, I learned how to zoom out. And then I had to map it based on some principle, some basis,
Hmm.
some underpinning. And what was it? It was the inner age. So this is
So
the difference.
the idea is that the remedy state is somehow at that inner age.
Yes, yes.
So you're
So
zooming in to that
yes,
age.
yes. And then it
Uh-huh.
doesn't, can I have an equal correlation or in corresponding remedies in each of the kingdoms?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
this is, you know what, we say in homeopathy, we have to individualize a case.
Hmm.
But we need to individualize based on one pretext, something, no? What is the
Yeah.
basis of individualizing? We don't
Right.
have this idea.
Hmm.
So I do it on the basis of individuation.
Hmm. How individuated
It
the
is,
individual is.
yes, yes. And it is
Yeah.
not mumbo jumbo. There are
Yes.
clear cut things. This is
Yes.
this is it's very clear. Just like
Yeah.
the periodic table is very clear, every remedy where it falls. Similarly, this animal chart and the plant chart are very clear. It's not just theoretical that you
Yes.
imagine, oh, he's like a child, so maybe no place
Yes.
for this, no place.
Yes. 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 Yes.
So you know, in sensation method, for example, what we do is when it comes to mineral, we use the development. When it comes to the plants, we do the sensations. But we don't know why magnolia is lost. Why Piper is so excited about life?
Yeah.
Why anacardium feels caught? Why? We never question. So
Yeah.
why can't we make homeopathy understandable? And by this method, we make it. And then when we come to animals, we go for groups. The reptiles, the mammals, the birds, and the spiders. So we have different method for different kingdoms.
Hmm.
So by this method, now when I do this personal evaluation, I know exactly why Magnolia feels lost. I know why anacardium feels caught.
Tell
I
us,
know
why doesn't Magnolia feel lost?
Magnolia are the
Yeah.
earliest plants.
Yes.
Earliest plants. So it's like a new, it's like somebody, a soul coming into this earth.
Yeah.
So suddenly if I do and I put you in the middle of Africa, what will you feel? Lost, confused, I don't know where I am. What happened when I first time taught my ideas in Munich? People were lost and confused. They walked out.
Wow.
Some of them, not all of them. But means they said, now what is this? It's all confusing.
Mm.
So this is the beginning of anything. Like Nux moschata is lost in the well-known streets.
Yes.
Now anacardium is in the school age. So in the school age, there are issues of crime, punishment, laws, rules.
Mm.
So if you do something wrong, what will the police do to you? Catch
Yes.
you. So you're caught. This caught is
Yes.
caught doing wrong.
Yes.
So leguminosae, all the P's are together. It is because it is in the natural line of development. The family is important. We have all to be together. We cannot
Mm.
scatter. Hyper AC is like just coming into the world. It's like I go to Las Vegas and I want to see everything. I want this, I want to, this sort of excitement. Then I am not confused between Piper AC and Ruby AC because
Mm.
Ruby AC is an adult. Adult. So for
Yeah.
them, excitement is sensuality, the passion. It is much adult, whereas Piper AC is like a child.
Yes.
So when you see that age, for me, it is not going to be just that sensation how to differentiate. For me, this one is a child, this one is an adult. And when I see this adultness, you talk to a Ruby AC, they are so much there. They are so defined. They are very clear cut. They know what it is. And they are very passionate about what they do. Whereas Piper AC is everywhere. Childish and like this, I
Right.
want this and I want this and I want a balloon, that sort of a thing.
Yes.
So it's fun. I'm teaching now and all of these people now, you see that.
Yes.
Now,
And I
for
can
example,
see that the Materia Medica is just come alive.
yes, for example,
you.
mammals. Let's take the animal
Yes.
kingdom. Mammals. Now, mammals will say these are the themes. We don't know why they are the themes. But, for example, mammals have developmental stages from the birth till school age. So you'll see themes of everything coming in.
Yes.
You'll see the school age, the superego, the morality, the right and wrong. You'll see the infancy with lot of instincts. So you have instincts and morality which are in conflict.
Yes.
You have early childhood which has to do with sexuality and abuse. And you'll see all these aspects come together. So suddenly you know this. So now my students, who are doing with me this fellowship, what you talked about, they all know that I can see the toddler and they know. So when they begin in that first year, they are very confused. They don't know what they are talking. But by the time end,
Yes.
you'll be surprised that there are around 50 people. And when I present a case, almost everybody says the same remedy and I'm shocked.
Wow.
This is what we need to do.
Wow.
And first it was like on the first day, everybody's everywhere. And they make mistakes also, whether it's an infant or a toddler. It takes time. It's a system which we have to learn and to grow and develop. So this is very important.
Fantastic.
For example, in psychiatry,
Yes.
I always see that who comes to me? What sort of people come to me? When I study all the remedies from the plant, mineral, animal chart, I see people who represent very young age or very old age.
Huh.
They are the ones who come. So if you take periodic table, I get the early columns or the last column or the womb stage lithium line. That is because imagine an infant or a very old man, 90-year-old man, has to cross a road, a busy street in. Would it be easy for them?
No. No.
Child would panic, that old man would panic. They have to support them, help them. Right? So if
Yes.
my inner age is of a womb or an infant, to deal with the complexities of life are so difficult. So I break down. Or if I'm a very old man inside, then too I break down. So you see, we can understand. I
Yes.
now know which developmental ages will have OCD, which developmental ages will have schizophrenia, which developmental ages will have bipolar,
Yes.
who will develop panic. If somebody says, I gave this remedy panic, my first question is, it seems unlikely because it doesn't fit in somehow. Because now you can, it's understandable. Even the pathology is understandable. And then I've got many people in my group who use it also for physical problems. They do seminars. They do seminars and they present cases pathology, which they do physical pathology, where they use this personal evolution. So there are these two methods.
Yes.
In psychiatry, you start with the zooming out, mapping, and then go into it. Whereas in pathological cases, physical pathology, you go into the pathology, find it, and when you come to the remedy, zoom out and understand this patient and say, does it fit into the person whom I'm treating? And then you say, yes, confirmation, done. And whatever method you do, whichever system you follow, finally the genius of the remedy has to match the patient.
Say it again for us.
It's like if I come to Nakswamika,
yes,
it should have all those qualities of Nakswamika and it has to fit into the materia medica. The keynote symptoms should be there, the generality, everything has to fit.
Yes.
You can't do some zebras and some vulture remedies. You can't do that. Yeah. Most of the time, common remedies are prescribed. We are not fancy prescribers. And most of the time when you give the remedy, it has to fit with the genius of that particular remedy. Mm. This is very important.
Yes.
So I would also like to tell one important thing before I go. Some people ask me, how is it different from sensation? It is not different. Sensation method basically means it's an Eastern philosophy. Answers are within you. Go deeper inside. The deeper you go, the better it is. Go into the experience. Mm-hmm. So this method does not say don't go in. You have to go deep, whatever level. But at every level, your remedy should be understood. At the human level and at the deeper level. Yeah. So sensation method and this method is not different. Also, all the sensations can be understood. All the groups can be understood better. So when you study it from the evolutionary perspective, it makes it more understandable. So it is like an umbrella which covers it. It takes in. It is not something which is excluding anything. It is inclusive.
Thank you.
So this is what I would like to say. Sorry for the monologue.
No, it was wonderful. Dr. Mahesh, one question that comes to me. That father-in-law that saw the patients and then sat in the evening again, are you coming closer to embodying this energy, understanding that energy?
I don't know whether I'm doing that because he would...
Yeah, what is it that he had, that calm, that thing that really touched you?
Yes, I look up to him. I aspire to be like him. That is, of course, there is no doubt about it. Even this evolutionary aspect is an Eastern philosophy. We see that all people are different. And we all believe that we are at different developmental stages. That makes us different.
Yes.
So he was teaching his patients not to come back. And I, at this age, this is also the stage of Erik Erikson. I am in my late adulthood, beginning old age. I am now 66. So this is the time where I have to give back.
Yeah.
This is the time my sense of fulfillment is not in still how I make my business, how I make my work, how I further progress, but how I can give back whatever I can, whatever I have learned. And I would love if everybody questions it, breaks it down, and builds something new over it. But the idea is, I would love to share my experience. And if I can do that, and I can convey this and spread it to more people, I'll be very happy. And what I say is not the final word, because great masters like Freud said many things. Many of his theories are today refuted. But on that have been built many more newer ideas. Science has to progress, has to grow. We all stand on each other's shoulders.
Yes.
Hmm?
And
I'm
speaking
very
of
blessed.
that, do you have any words that you want to share for new homeopaths, young homeopaths? You
I-
said something about being the student and
You have to learn
taking,
more than what the teacher teaches.
yeah,
Good student learns more than what the teacher teaches.
yes.
And I would also say one more thing is
Yes, please.
love what you do.
Mm.
Because you love your plants, the plants flourish. A teacher can never know the child as much as the mother knows because mother loves the child.
Yeah.
When you love something, it opens up, it unfolds. Homeopathy will speak to you if you really love it and you are dedicated and have the right passion for it. We are all blessed with this subject. I have no more words to say. Just
Thank
love
you
what you
so
do.
much.
Don't make it just a simple profession,
Yes.
something to earn our bread. Love what you do. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much for
so
giving this
much.
opportunity.
It was
Love you,
wonderful
Laurie.
to have you. Happy birthday to you. Thank you
Wish you
so
all
much for
too. Bye
wish you
bye.
the best. Thank
Yes.
you.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye to all of you.